Good morning, kiddos. So I'm going to be reading the Year of Miss Agnes in a minute, but I also wanted to add some signposts that I got from kids yesterday. I got one from Violet and one from Jonathan, so I thought I'd add those. I'll add them in different colors. And from Violet, she found a C&C. So we'll say on page 99, I found a C, which was Fred didn't want to have kids or a husband. The character is acting this way because she wants to make her own money. Let me just get this there. And I might also add, is acting this way. So I might just add on to Violet's thinking here too, because I agree, this is a C&C, and that this idea that Fred, because this story was written in 1948. And so women's roles back then were different than they are now. Most women did not work outside the home. Some did, but most did not. Most stayed home and cooked and cleaned for their families. They were housewives, and if they were married, their husbands went out and worked. But Fred here is thinking different. So this is a C&C for most women at that time. And I would say that because of Miss Agnes, Fred is seeing, oh, there's a different role for me. I can be a mother and stay at home, or I can go off and do a job. And so she's seeing something else for herself. So I'm going to say Miss Agnes has showed Fred that she can have a different life than what she thought. So Violet, good thinking. So let me put Violet's. So that was Violet's idea, and then I just added a little bit different. Now, Jonathan also gave me an idea. Now, he didn't do the signpost, but, well, he did a nonfiction signpost where he did an aha, okay? So Jimmy had an aha when he realized that the children were not speaking, we'll say, proper English. Okay, now I'm going to add to this. So this was, oh, and this was on page 77. So on page 97. So I'm going to add a little bit to this. So Jimmy realizes, hey, we're not speaking good English. And so by realizing this, he is going to learn proper English. And this will help him if he goes on to college, because if he speaks proper English, it's one of the things that then you're more respected. So that's an interesting thing, but he's realizing this, like, this is an aha. If I learn proper English, this could help me in the future. I already see that there are some mistakes. Has shown, oh, shown. And okay, and this was from Jonathan. So nice job, you guys. So thank you for helping us with our learning. I really appreciate when kids are responding to me, and then we get to, because of your responses, we get smarter. So I'll just go back up here and remember that I'll be sending this sheet out again today, and I'll be sending it out with my original signpost, and then also with Violet's and Jonathan's. So let me change the fonts because today's a new day. Okay, so let me get reading. My guess is that I'm going to have to do 2 videos because I think this is a little bit longer chapter. So let's get started. So I'm on chapter 16 on page 101. By spring, we could all read pretty good and write stories and tell the names of the places on the whole map. That big map was one of our best things. Plasker liked it best. Plasker used to like to touch the map and say the names, low, like magic words, like he could feel something coming from the countries on the map. I could do it too sometimes. When I touched Africa, I could see that long, flat place where the elephants and the zebras were and feel the hot wind on me and smell dry grass. Now I wanted to go everywhere, and before I never knew there was an everywhere. That's a C&C right there. So that's something that in your responses to me, what is the C&C? Okay, that's on page 101. You could, what is the C&C for Fred? By spring, I could add and subtract. Boko could write now too and read the books Miss Agnes wrote for her. If she wanted something, she could write to us now. Not really good, but enough that we could tell. Okay, kids, that's another C&C. There are just going to be tons in here. What's the C&C for Boko? Okay, and what does that tell us? She knew a lot of signs, more than 200. Miss Agnes and so did all of us. We learned right along with Boko. Only Miss Agnes had to look the signs up in the book all the time. She couldn't remember them as good as us. Boy, that sounds like something that would be me. It's harder when you're an adult to learn new things. Sometimes she'd just ask us what the sign was for book or walk something, and we'd tell her so she wouldn't have to look it up. I have an old brain, she'd sign to Boko. It's not good. A young brain is good. Man, can I relate to that? How many times have I said that in class? I've got an old brain. I can really relate to Miss Agnes there. Even sometimes Boko would sign bad things at us now, like when she got mad at us. Being mad in sign language is funny. So we'd laugh, and then Boko would have to laugh too. The funny thing was, we didn't just use the signs to talk to Boko, we used them to talk to each other. Like if little Pete said something, maybe Roger would sign to him, "You're crazy." Or maybe when I saw Bertha in the store, I would just sign to her, "Hi." Pretty soon, a lot of the grown-ups were learning some signs too. Sometimes the old man sitting around in the store with old man Anderson would be funny, throwing their hands around, pretending they are talking real fast in sign language to tease us. When Mama saw everyone getting interested in it, she even started to learn some signs. She would ask me how to say things like, "Be careful," and "hurry up," and bossy things like that. But me and Boko didn't care. We were just happy she was learning and not mad about it anymore. And even sometimes Mama would forget and would sign to me just like I was deaf too. The first time that happened, we all laughed, even Mama. It was so funny. Okay, kids, there's a C&C here for Mama too. What could it be? By now, the snow had come. But by now, the snow had a hard crust from the warm days. It was time for nearly everyone to go to spring camp. Little Pete and Roger went to Long Lake. Marie and Plasker and Toby Joe went with their folks to North Fork, and Bertha went to spring camp up at Alcacat. There were just 5 of us left at school. Charlie Boy and Selena and me and Boko and Kenny were staying in time until time for fish camp in the summer. Spring camp was the best of all. Really, Grandpa and Grandma and me and Mama and Boko went with Uncle Patty and his family once. It was so good. We had 2 white tents we put up by the lake. In ours, there were 2 bunks made from spruce poles, and there was a table and 2 gas boxes for chairs. This sounds like camping a bit, and so spring camp sounds like maybe a hunting camp. Uncle Patty shoveled the snow over the edges of the tents to keep them tight and set up a little Yukon stove in each tent. These stoves kept the tents just warm. When the ice on the lake melted, Grandpa and Uncle Patty and the boys would go out in the little canoes and get as many muskrats as they could. Then at night, all the grown-ups would skin and stretch the muskrats. When they were skinning, Grandpa told us stories about the old days when he went for muskrats with his dad. They used to make tent with moose hides, put over willows, bent in a bow. They had hard times those years with no stores. Sometimes they were hungry in the spring. But this year, the kids who were going to spring camp were sad. They knew when they got back, Miss Agnes would be gone. It would all be over. There would be another teacher next year, maybe a nice one even, but never the same as Miss Agnes. What if they wouldn't let Boko come to school? What if she wouldn't let Boko come to school? Now, what Fred is talking about there is the next teacher. Now, that is a tough question. Okay, so what would that make you wonder about? When we talk like that, Miss Agnes would try to make us like the way things would be. Boko will go to school, said Miss Agnes. The priest at Alcatat said the church is going to send her to a good school for the deaf. When she's 14, it will be good. You'll see. So Miss Agnes would be gone, and Boko would be gone. Sometimes I went in the outhouse, and I cried hard about that. Maybe if one of us was smart like that boy of Hudson Stuck's, the one who was going to be a doctor, maybe if we didn't always have that fish smell on us. I know she said she couldn't even smell anything, but maybe she would stay for us and teach us another year. Maybe if this England didn't have trees with pink flowers on them and that place where people sing so hard, it bounces off the walls. So what I'm getting from this part is that Fred is like really sad thinking about Miss Agnes leaving. And she's saying, maybe if we didn't have fish here, maybe Miss Agnes would stay. And I'll stop there and finish up the chapter in another video.